welcome you guys to another episode of the Unscripted podcast. My name is Ed Johnson. I have a few special guests with me today, Calvin Sutton and Hassan Nelson. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hassan Nelson here. I'm just here to give my unfiltered opinions. Listen up.
My name is Calvin. I'm here to just talk on a variety of different topics, man, from football to the elections. So, look forward to it.
Today we have, the biggest elephant in the room that we've seen in a long time.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. This election is one of the most biggest surprises we've seen, in the past 10, 20 years. But before we get to that, we've had a lot of things going on in the world of sports and the world of politics. But the biggest topic that a lot of people are talking about are athletes, and how they affect us, in American culture. And a big athlete that has really polarized the country is Colin Kaepernick. This guy, not really took a stand, but he took a knee. And his knee made the country rise up and say, have we really been a post-racial society? What you guys think about that?
You want me to go? You got it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Colin Kaepernick, to me, I think he showed a great deal of courage, from his stance that he took. He kind of, looked his opposers or oppressors in his eyes and in the face and said, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to take my stance or my type of kind of rebellion against the establishment, if you will. He kind of got a thought process of, I'm on a national level. I'm on an NFL team. I'm getting seen by a lot of people every day from practice to NFL games. And if I make a stance and kind of give my opinion, it will be heard, and people will follow suit. So I think what he's done and what he's doing is courageous, and I kind of I wish more athletes would kind of listen to him and take his stance as well.
I kind of feel like I respect what he's doing. I feel the biggest thing from what he's doing is he's saying, all right, well, I just have to do something, He kind of came out there and just, he took a knee, and a lot of people had a lot of negative things to say about it. But the biggest takeaway for me was it kind of got the conversation started. You kind of got to see the divide between, blacks and whites in the country.
You're
a lot
right.
of people say, well, I don't, these movements, Black Lives Matter, Colin Kaepernick, they're dividing the country. But my question is, when were we ever really united,
That's a good question.
But Cal, do you think we were united when Obama was elected? So many people thought that we had changed as a country, or, Obama, said plenty of times that we were the United States of America. But, as yesterday proved that, are we really a United States?
No, people were happy. Black people were happy when Obama got
There you go.
elected. We were happy about that. And the people that supported him, we came through with them. But there was, half the country didn't support Barack Obama. To this day they don't. They talk about every single policy that he tries to get passed, but there was a small, it was a small group that kind of united together, but for the most part, it's been Democrats and Republicans.
And not to kind of jump ahead of ourselves, but this whole election that just happened yesterday was the antithesis of what happened when Obama got elected. More minorities were, jumping in for joy when Barack Obama got elected, and now it's kind of like the majority, which would be the white counterpart, is more happy now since Trump is elected.
Yeah, going back to Kaepernick, do you guys think that athletes should have a voice in terms of how we look at race relations, or do you guys feel like, from a conversation I had with a coworker earlier, some people feel like celebrities have even a larger impact on American culture than politicians. So, from a cultural standpoint, what role do you guys think athletes should play in changing the way that we, look at race, or look at, the way that other people look at minorities or look at young people?
I think they should take a bigger stance. Like, you think about that famous picture that has Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell,
Jim
Brown. They're in a room and they're they're talking, and they're really trying to initiate change. Not only are they just talking about it, but they let their actions speak for them. More, you think about Muhammad Ali. They tried to draft him for a war that he didn't support, and he was like, all right, you know, I'll go here. Like that's
activism was a big
thing.
proponent back in the day.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the same way.
Yeah. Wasn't he in that picture as well?
Yeah, he was.
I mean, but going to you guys' point, do you think money, the rise in athletes' wealth has taken away their activism because they're so wealthy
I
really
think that's
they become too comfortable in their lifestyle.
Those endorsements have them.
Yes.
Those endorsements hold them hostage from really kind of speaking about on the things that they want to, and I feel like taking the action that they want to take.
And I think it become even more distant when you come across a big load of money at a certain time or even over time. It's kind of like, all right, well, I've been away from that whole struggle, the kind of destitute state of the projects. And it's kind of like they kind of forget where they came from, or just try to forget it altogether instead of kind of lending that hand back and trying to pull people up with them.
Yeah, I mean, I know, and Calvin, like knowing being in the military, and people were talking about Kaepernick was disrespecting people that was in the military. Do you feel like it was a disrespect to the flag, or were they really missing the whole point behind what he was doing?
I've been in the military 12 years now. I didn't feel disrespected at all. I was actually proud as a black man. But see, that's how a lot of people like to put certain spins on it. The minute you say something bad about the U.S. or something like that, then it's unpatriotic, it's un-American.
Right.
They can bash Obama all day, but the minute that we begin to start to talk negatively about Trump, we're gonna be unpatriotic or un-American. And the whole patriotic thing, to me, they don't understand. They can't even take just 5 minutes to just sit there and understand what we have to be proud about. As far as where the country has came from and what every change that's came about has been met with a lot of resistance.
Right.
Slavery ended, and then 100 years later, we dealing with Jim Crow laws, segregation in the South.
So the mass incarceration.
100 years later. So what are the next 100 years gonna look like after segregation ended in the South?
Well, that's a good viewpoint since you're in the military yourself. Did you see any kind of backlash from white military people?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you might see this, you might feel this way, but what about the white?
Definitely. You get on Facebook and stuff, and you see people that you serve with that's been in Iraq and stuff, and they have a huge problem with it. And then the black people serving in the military.
So it divided them as well.
Yeah,
in the military.
But even in the military, things are divided. You look at it when you put on that uniform, right? It's a brotherhood. And no matter what race you are, if you're in battlefield with somebody, then that's a brotherhood. That's your brother. And when that situation changes, when you go back home, it's that same disconnect. You'll notice if you go to the cafeteria at your workplace and you see the whites sitting with the whites and the blacks sitting with the blacks.
And just gravitate towards each other. I definitely agree with that.
I mean, so like, do you guys feel like in today's society, like people have a misguided view in terms of there's no racism anymore? Like, as us working in corporate America, and when we go through our daily work routine, or we go through our daily life, like, people don't want to address the elephant in the room in terms of there still is racism, but now it's more covert than overt.
Not only do people not want to address it, but most of them don't see it on a day-to-day basis. You're thinking about people who's on the forefront, who's in front of the cameras and talking about issues in America. They live in these kind of rural areas where they're kind of disconnected from the inner cities, and so when they have kind of contact with law enforcement, it's a hey, Mr. Johnston, or hey, Miss Smith, how you doing today? But that same type of interaction with someone in a family or a kid in the inner city is like, get down. I need to frisk you, stop and frisk. That's a big proponent of Giuliani, and he might be on a Trump cabinet when it's all said and done. But I think it's a disconnect because they're not experiencing it. So if they don't see it, it doesn't exist to them. They're not living it.
And the only image they get of African Americans, if they live in these rural areas, the only image they get of black people is what they see on the news.
That's true.
And
it's propagated
every time
on the
they
news.
put something on the news, I mean, they have to get the hoodest of hood rats on the news. You're talking crazy,
right.
And then that becomes their perception of us.
Exactly, you're right.
And it's totally false. And like Hassan was saying, they don't see certain interactions with how we have to, when we get pulled over, how slow we have to move. the last thing that will come to their mind is being shot for reaching for a wallet or something like that. But that's something that we have to deal with, and I feel like they don't necessarily understand that. In addition to that, they also have to look at. I feel like they feel like things are so much better than they once were that we should just shut up and be grateful about it. But no, we're not gonna stop. You're not gonna stop hearing this. We're not gonna stop going forward until things are equal.
You should be grateful that you're not getting hung anymore.
I mean, like,
you should be grateful Jim Crow is not here anymore.
Y'all not getting, y'all got some food, y'all got some
right. You got a shelter over your head.
The biggest thing was, see, first of all, I watch CNN and I watch Fox News. I like to watch both to compare them.
Right.
They're both biased. Yeah. I remember that Ted Bundy story. They got the farmer that was resisting the government, was trying to make him pay taxes or something like that. And, they were all for him. It was like, man, this guy's a true American hero. And then they had an interview with him. I guess they just talked to him just a little bit too much. And he said, well, I think African Americans, I think they were better off as slaves,
Oh,
he said,
that's crazy.
He said, I felt like they were in better conditions. They had food, they had some, and that's the mentality that a lot of them carry on. Like, we're just better off as just second-rate citizens, an afterthought.
Yeah, and I think that's a good transition into a topic that was so prevalent in the election, where a statement that not only Trump but a lot of people in this camp made, where they always talked about what makes America great, or we want to make America great again. So we really want to hear that. What does make America great, or what do people think when they talk about making America great, or like what is our perception of a great America?
Well, what I think a great America would look like is a place of inclusion. It's kind of like a melting pot of white, black, brown, yellow, everyone kind of coming together in unison, kind of speaking on one accord. I know it's kind of far-fetched to think that, everyone can, just stay on one accord, but that's what I think a great America looks like, where, there's no divide based on color, religion, a way of life, but, everyone's treated fairly, and, and everyone has an open mind to the values that everyone else has.
Yeah, I think a place where affirmative action doesn't exist, equal opportunity doesn't exist. Yeah. We don't have to pass laws to do the right thing. People should have a certain moral compass to where we understand that, hey, this is just something that we should, this is just something, I'm going to do this just because it's the right thing to do.
You're right.
I feel like there's so much, if somebody comes out and says a racist comment now, it's so much backlash. They lose endorsements. You think about the lady that was on that cooking show, Paula Deen.
Paula Deen. I say niggas all the time.
I love Paula Deen. I love her recipes and all that. But she came out. She said, that she admitted to using the term nigger and stuff, and she got shunned, and they feel like they have to do it,
right?
Because of the backlash. It's the moral. It's the backlash.
I mean, so do you feel like she's really racist, or just the way she was brought up, or her viewpoints are racist?
Yeah, that's the way she was brought up. Yeah. Racism is so ignorant in its purest form. Yeah. It's something that's taught. It's not something that you just innately I'm better than you because my hair is longer, or your hair is longer. It's just something. It's something that's taught by parents, and it's out of pure ignorance. And I feel like, through the right education, the right conversations, things like, because you could have a college educated person that has that same mindset as their racist dad, and I feel like just having these conversations, you're just saying, let's talk about things. Like you said, you were talking to a coworker, and you guys were having an open conversation.
Yeah, have a good dialogue. Yeah,
good dialogue. And you're not afraid to start that with somebody of a different demographic. Right.
Yes,
and that's the problem. It's not enough of that. People are too scared.
And timid.
And that's one thing I do have to give about Trump. He's
out there.
He's out there. He says what he wants. He lets you know. And if more people were like that, and were able to have conversations and open to having certain conversations,
maybe change could come.
I feel like change could happen.
Yes.
But
do you guys feel like in today's society, like a great America not only encompasses like somebody not being racist, but equal opportunity. Because I think that what really turned so many people off about Trump is that he preached, other people coming to America, and not giving them a chance illegal immigrants. Like, what do you guys feel about that? About equality of opportunity, like giving everybody an opportunity to succeed. Like, and in my opinion, that's what I think really represents a great America, where everybody has the same opportunity to succeed, and be successful. And I feel like that's what really hit at so many Americans, is that when Trump talked about making America great again, was in the past, everyone didn't have the same opportunity to be successful. In today's America, that kind of exists, where if you work hard, if you go after your dream, then that then you can really obtain your dream. But in the past, that wasn't really possible. Right. So like what do you guys feel about in the future? Like, how can we keep that dream alive in terms of everybody having the same opportunity?
Well, I feel like times are a lot of people. I woke up this morning post election, and I was kind of distraught, but I just thought about the times that we're living in right now, where, like you said, things, if you want something, if you want to make it happen, you can. There's no, your skin color can't hold you back like it used to, So if you
there are some limitations.
There are some limitations if you're talking about corporate America and things like that, but I'm talking about if you want to do something for yourself. Then those limitations don't really exist.
So when we talk about that, like, would you rather live in, is America the best country you will live in? Would you rather live in any other country in America?
I would not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
From my opinion, I can only say I would want to live in America because I haven't experienced any other country. I can hear things about how great or bad other countries are, but I've only experienced America, and I kind of know its limitations, if you will, and its opportunity as well.
Yeah, if you were born here and you grew up in your family, said this becomes home, right. Regardless of the situation, this becomes home.
It's yours.
I remember when I went to Canada, it was just, and you hear so many people talk about moving to Canada, but when I went to Canada, I was so surprised at how nice everybody was.
Bro, I mean, but how many black people do y'all feel can really move to Africa?
No, they're not. They're not, bro. Because the living they're not going to be. They're not. The living conditions are better here. Yeah.
You can't.
I mean, they haven't even been to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, I feel like this is. I
mean, how they gonna move to Africa? Like, they ain't even been to Miami.
Like the best opportunities for us are here. It's just what we have. We need to fix what we have. The same way that Trump's slogan is "Make America Great Again" is the same way we feel. We like the base and the foundation of what we have.
Let's make America
great.
It
needs to be better. It needs to be better. If we want to be included, we want to be included in that "Make America Great Again." Yeah. We don't want to be an afterthought.
I say take off the again and just say let's make America great
for the first time. For black people.
True. I feel
there you go.
So I mean, going on another topic, like how do you guys feel like we as citizens can really make change? Because we always talk about the president, is going to do this, the governor is going to do that, but ultimately it's really up to us. It's up to us to really, change America. I mean, so like, how is we as young professionals or citizens, not just as black people, but as citizens of America, like how can we make change beyond the president? Because as we've talked about, like in America, like we have the freedom to do what we want to. So. Right. How are we going forward after this election? How can we make the change that we want to see?
I want to say something. This is going to be, I'm going to be Trump-like with it. I feel like we...
Trump supporter?
No, I'm talking...
I'm playing.
Raw. We need to define what the new cool is, right? Okay, we never really get involved in politics too much. Every time you see a black man running, it's usually a black guy, got glasses on, and he's Uncle Tom. And he starts talking. Well, some of my plans and policies.
Shut your nerd ass up.
We can't relate to him. It's just somebody that we can't relate to.
Right.
The guys that we look after and we model ourselves after
the entertainers,
the athletes. But we need to define the new cool. We need to get people like us in positions of power.
Oh, speaking on that word, like, this might be going a little off topic, but I was hearing a topic earlier today, and people were talking about how social media has really changed the way that we want to be accepted so much, or we want to get so many likes or so many get so much.
The crack likes.
Yeah, crack likes. Instagram and Facebook. I mean, do you guys feel like social media has really made us want to conform to how people want us to be, and not just be individuals and maybe go into politics, but really go on Instagram or Facebook and put a picture and get so many likes? Like, has that changed the way we think is?
I think that kind of harkens back to what Calvin was just talking about, defining really what's cool. You think about what gets the most likes on Instagram. Let's talk about from a female's point of view. Shaking that ass, showing skin. You get likes after likes after likes, stare after stare after stare. From a dude's point of view, what gets you like? What gets you likes? Flashing money, chains, new shoes, new clothes, a girl on your side. So it's defining, like you said, what's cool. You kind of, people see people getting a whole bunch of likes. You kind of want to gravitate towards that and kind of emulate that.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that's what I was talking about. Like, is it cool to be different? Like, is it cool to be unique, or is it cool to be like everybody else, or is it cool to be flashy? Like,
it's
what is
safe
cool?
to be like
here's food for thought. Hillary won the popular vote but lost the election,
which blows my mind.
I feel like people just moving forward, we have to be more accepting. The same way we want other people to be more accepting of us, we have to be more accepting of people that are different than us. It's so many different things. People, because somebody might do this and somebody's going to try to mimic that. It's become a cookie cutter society where everybody kind of do the same thing and they're afraid to.
Switch it up.
When I met Hassan, and he told me he was into astrology and things like that, and I have a it's not a deep of a affection for it as he does, but it's like, damn, I like that shit too. I thought I was the only one that kind of like, look at the stars and stuff like that. The movie, Interstellar came out. Shit just blew my mind.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
But you just got to be comfortable. You got to be comfortable and confident to be yourself, regardless of what people are gonna say.
Well, staying on the, defining what's cool. What the election told us, we figured out what the American people think is cool. They think sexual assault, sexual assault and victims is cool. They think bigotry is cool. They think racism is cool. If they didn't, you wouldn't have a person like that as head of state of the United States of America. Yeah. You think about how we looking globally. They're looking at the U.S. like, man, it's just it's filled up and down with just decadence. It's immoral, just bad morals, and you flat. Look at his wife. Think about what's her name, Melania.
Which one?
Exactly. Which one? But think about her as the POTUS or the FLOTUS. Think about her as the. Come on now.
This is off topic too, but what if Barack had 3 baby mamas?
They would have killed him.
Ex-wives?
3 baby mamas, 2 ex-wives. Come on now. He wouldn't even have made it to the general election.
No.
Come on now.
Never.
Get him out of here.
But yeah, man, I just think that people have to, you just gotta be comfortable, man, to be yourself. I started realizing I was a little different. I'm not saying I'm too much far off, but I have my likes and stuff like that. I'm into history and stuff like that, and the stuff I like, some people should say, "Are you listen to that? You read? Who does that?" And I confidently say, "I do." Right. Shit, what? You want me to do more stuff like what you doing or what everybody else is doing? You just got to be cool, comfortable, and confident, and just being yourself, man. And I think people levitate to people with confidence. So no matter what your likes are, if you're confident about doing it,
people gonna respect it.
That's a good point. So do you feel like that's what Trump represented in this whole election? No matter how stupid he was talking, no matter what crazy statement he made, he was confident about it, or he made his followers feel like he knew what he was talking about. Whether he was talking about grabbing his nuts, talking about
people like
confidence.
Right, the confidence.
One thing that I hate with athletes are the interviews that they do after a game. They have to be so politically correct.
Right.
That
Richard Sherman, it might be an outlier on that one.
Well, no, you got some people, but they get crucified for when they
do.
We talking about practice. Not the real game. We talking about...
bro. But do you feel like athletes, when they do show confidence, that kind of scares some people. Because I mean, if you see like a lot of fans that look at college athletes or professional athletes, like they're adoring for who they are, how they perform. But when they see how articulate they probably are, or how they can be off the field, they're like, I didn't think he was like that.
Well, this is how I feel. The majority of people only like the athletes when they're performing and winning for their team. Off the field, off the court, off the whatever platform you play on, you just another black dude.
Look at Wisconsin.
Exactly what's going on in Wisconsin. We were speaking of that earlier. It's like, all right, as long as you on the court, as long as you on the field winning for my school, I'ma love you. But as soon as you get off or as soon as you graduate and whatnot, you just another one.
You just another nigga.
That's just what it is. That's
as long as you entertaining us. Yeah, it reminds like a fucking minstrel show or something.
Entertain me and you tolerable.
I mean, so speaking on the Wisconsin issue, like you mentioned, Calvin, like, so do you feel like that college or that is a microcosm of what goes on at a lot of majority schools where there's a underlying racism that the regular college student sees or the regular black college student sees, but the athletes that are adored or that are deified on a college campus, like once they leave the field or leave the court, then they're back to being who they were before they got on the court.
I do believe it. So think about it. So that whole situation is like a microcosm of society at large now. So the star athletes in the universities will be considered the uppity type Negroes. They're not experiencing what the everyday black person is going through, because they're getting praised with how they perform, and they kind of sliding through school. Kind of teachers love them, so they're just passing them no kind of work or whatnot. And then your everyday black student or minority in the university is going through hell. It's like, dang, I see this type of controlled racism where you can tell someone doesn't like it, but just they can't come out and say anything because it would just be unpopular, if you will. But it's sort of, like I said, it's sort of like a microcosm of what society is today. The star athlete is the uppity type, and then everyone else is just another one.
And what's funny? I had no idea like that was going on when they came out with that. I was a little surprised because I know how college athletes get the reputation of if you think about the quarterback for Alabama, true freshman, dude with dreads for Alabama.
First of all,
he's on campus knocking them down.
Right? Knocking them down. And he getting praised right now.
And look, and see, so this is the thing.
Knocking them down? What you mean knocking the boots?
He's knocking all the females
knocking all of them down.
They throwing it at him.
Here's the thing. You got to think about, you guys remember, I never saw it, but you guys know the background of the birth of the Nation Field, the original one, the KKK.
Explain that, what you mean.
Okay, so it was basically like propaganda where it was a situation where a black guy was freed, or he might have escaped, and he raped a white woman, and it was a big deal. And it was like, if this what you do, this what these animals are gonna do. They're gonna start trying to sleep with our women and stuff like that. So they found the dude. They found this guy that did it. They hung him. It was a silent film, and that's the scare tactic that they use with these people. If we let these people free, they're gonna start sleeping with our women and stuff like that.
And that's what they came up with Jim Crow.
Yeah.
I mean, parallel on that back.
Yeah.
To today's culture. So, like, why do you feel like that current film didn't get as much praise as a Tyler Perry or as a film talking about how we were suppressed? Like, why didn't people gravitate to that film in the movie?
Because the majorities didn't want to face the true facts head on. I mean, that film, The Birth of a Nation, was kind of gave the whole past situation a kind of a raw view to its viewers. You saw just rawness as far as a rebellion type as well from the black counterpart. It's like every
when they knock that dude's teeth out for not eating
everything. It's kind of like they don't want to show a black person
because you have to deal with that stuff. It was difficult for me as a black man to watch. It was a tough watch. You left the movie theater and it was like your stomach didn't feel right.
Most of those type slave movies are kind of hard to watch. It's like,
but not like that. That was one of the hardest.
I mean, bro, y'all saying like people don't want to deal with the truth. Like, had too much truth.
Yeah,
had too much truth in it.
Right, had too much truth in it.
Exactly.
Because you think about it, they're seeing white people treat treat black people that way. Like, well, man, that couldn't have been going on. I don't want to see that. We supposed to be burying it. Why are we still talking about that? We need to put that behind us. That never happened. That's kind of the mindset, in my opinion, of some white Americans.
I mean, so man, I guess closing in a section that we'll have going forward. Like, what are some final thoughts you guys think as far as the election, or as far as in today's society with racism? Like, how can we move forward? Not only as a people, but as a overall culture. Like, what are some steps that we can take as a people to keep America going forward as a good society?
Me personally, I just think it all starts from the youth. You got to educate the youth. You kind of got to educate your household too. It's making sure you preaching the right doctrine, if you will, as far as building businesses and not falling within the everyday rat race, if you will. You kind of got to build a business, build an industry, and make it work for you. It's similar to what Malcolm X always used to preach, is black nationalism. And I know that kind of has a bad connotation nowadays when people think about it, like, oh, you say something about black nationalism, you look at somebody like they're a racist. But no, it's kind of like just making sure you're in control of your own politics, your own government, your own economy, making sure that you're not relying on outside or external help, like things like we were just talking about it earlier, like welfare and things of that nature. It's making sure you can take care of yourself and having that voice to kind of perpetuate that through generations.
So do you feel like, so you're talking about more of we need to become more self-sufficient and not depend on the government?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And it starts with education.
Yeah. My final thoughts are, similar to that, but I feel like it's time for us to just step it up. I know you said it starts with the youth, but really, man, the youth need guidance. They need better examples. We're always going to have the athletes. We're always going to have the rappers and things like that. But we need more success stories elsewhere.
Yeah.
Everybody always say, well, you should try to be a lawyer or a doctor. Well, everybody don't want to be a lawyer or a doctor. Everybody, that's not the career progression that they want to go.
Well,
towards.
I could have been an astrologist.
Yeah, we need to broaden our horizons. We need more examples, black men, success stories. More entrepreneurship, more guys that are business owners that are not afraid to go out and speak in the community and go to schools and volunteer their free time with nothing to gain other than to educate young people on, say, hey, look, there's certain tools and stuff that people are just not going to teach you. And everything I learn, I want to make sure I teach that to you. That we need to pass that down and understand that one president is not going to, one man can only do but so much. Look at Barack Obama. He was in there for 8 years, really good guy. He can only do so much. Donald Trump is only going to be able to do so much. So it's not the end of the world, man. I think it's really it's the beginning for us. It's realizing that the government,
racism still exists.
Republicans control the Senate,
the
Congress,
House,
and the presidency. It's time for us to figure out what we can do on our own.
I mean, do you think it really proves that like anything is possible? A guy that never was a part of the government.
That's what I will say. Not to cut you off, I will say that this election proved that the United States is a democracy, and that the president that is elected by the people.
Yeah.
If someone like that can get it elected,
he was selected by the people.
If someone like that can get it elected, and he's ran a whole campaign out bigotry, racism, and fright, basically, you know for a fact that there's no kind of
boundaries and stuff.
Yeah, that's in my opinion, for good or worse.
Yeah, I feel like it was a black president. We had a real estate billionaire, and we had a woman, that was running. Yeah,
right.
These are uncommon. These aren't your typical politicians.
I was a Bernie supporter, just to throw that out there.
Yeah, but these aren't. This is the country where you can make it happen if you want to make it happen. And I feel like it first takes us to unite with each other as black people, and then we gotta unite with white people, man. Like I said, we gotta open that. We gotta start that dialogue and things like that. We gotta invite them into our homes, invite them to a cookout and stuff, and just kind of talk candidly with them to see. Every time you get around a white person and stuff, you don't say nigga or nothing like that.
You just don't be yourself. Period.
You just gotta be yourself.
Right.
It's not like you getting around your elders or something like that. You know?
That's gonna take hard. That's gonna take some time.
It is gonna take.
It's impossible for your typical black person to go to corporate America and be themselves.
I know we said we were going to end it, but we have to jump on that topic. So, as the three of us working in corporate America, like, how do you guys feel like you can be yourself, but still succeed in a world that isn't designed for people being themselves, I guess, or like it's not a microcosm of who we really are. Like, how do you go through navigating corporate America and still being your true self?
Well, think about it from me. Just my image alone, it's kind of like I'm.
What do you mean by that? Your image?
Well, I have dreads. First, I'm black. First of all, second of all, I got dreads. So that's just from what people see externally. So when they meet me and when they get to know me and when they work with me, I'm a walking oxymoron, if you will. It's like because you can tell I'm intellectually inclined, or I know what I'm doing. Just because I'm black and I got dreads doesn't mean I'm a thug or I'm out here, gang banging or doing whatnot. And that's kind of my whole perception. It's like I'm trying to buck that trend or buck that thought because, like we were talking about before, it's the media kind of propagated that whole image of what a black dude with dreads is and how he acts. So, just because I have dreads doesn't mean I'm not smart. Doesn't mean I don't have feelings, emotion. Doesn't mean I don't, I'm not a law-abiding citizen, all of that. So, I'm in corporate America. I look like this, and, I'm just kind of trying to buck that trend of just because I have dreads or I'm black with dreads doesn't mean I'm not fully qualified or capable to do my job.
I mean, but do you feel like some of your coworkers might, when they first meet you, they look at you differently, or do you feel like they change how they think of you over time?
I do, and I think that's just a natural reaction from what they were brought up on for forever, from what's been propagated from the media. And then when they do meet me, it's like, all right, well, dang, he's not like that thug that I thought he was.
Yeah, and that's not to me, that's not really racist. That's more so stereotyping.
Right. Right.
I used to if I met a girl and stuff, and I started dropping gems on her, it's like, dang, you smart. I didn't know you. Just kind of surprised at my level of intellect, but I feel like as far as corporate America,
I mean, what do you are you saying that's not racist, or are you saying that's not? But do you still think that's like a systematic? That's more of
systematic stereotyping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Definitely. Yeah. It just comes from it just comes from trying to survive in your culture. If you want to survive in a place that where random things can happen, everybody has the right to have a gun. You got to adapt to your surroundings really quick. And it's easier to do that by identifying certain things. If you start to see certain trends and you notice that most of these people are committing these crimes, or most of the crimes are happening in these neighborhoods, and you're going to make sure you watching your back in certain areas and you know where you at. Just being situationally aware, that's just something I learned in the military as well. But if somebody has an opinion and you change it, don't be offended that they thought that way in the first place.
Right.
It was out of ignorance. So just hope and pray that they're open-minded to where a conversation just might change their whole opinion. That goes back to the dialogue. But I want to talk on navigating through corporate America as a black man. For me, my biggest thing is the same way I have the same mantra in the military. You got to play the game. You know how it's designed. If you pay attention and understand what's going on, certain things to say. If I'm walking or something like that, I'm making sure who's around me before I talk a certain way.
You got to.
And you got to play that game until you have your own. And if you hate playing that game and putting on that face every day, then use that as motivation.
Right. It got to be the end goal.
Yeah,
your own.
It has to. Use it as motivation.
I mean, bro, but what do you mean in terms of, you say play the game, but can you ultimately let the game play you, where you play the game so much that that over time you become someone who you're not, in terms of you might be in corporate America for so long and you keep playing the game, and ultimately
you're brainwashed.
You're brainwashed.
Yeah.
Where the game you're talking about maybe played you.
Yeah, you seen Walt?
What, bruh? What do you? That is a perfect example. What are you referring to?
I don't know what you're talking about.
talking about,
bruh.
we talking about Walt, man. Walt is an older guy. It looked like he could retire tomorrow if he wanted to, man. And you just see Walt, man. Walt is a different guy, man. The game has played him.
He cut from a different cloth, man.
The game has played him.
But once again, I want to thank you guys for joining us. It was a great episode where we talked about some interesting topics, where it was Kaepernick or politics or Walt.
Damn, he had his own topic.
Walt had his own topic.
I appreciate you for having us, man.
Hey,
appreciate it.
Hey, man, I like what you got going on here, man. This right here just gives you a kind of a venue or a platform to express your opinions, and I like it, man. Keep it up.
We'll see you guys next week. Peace.